Hi, everybody. It's Jennie Allen, and I'm coming to you live from the If Gathering offices. And I mean, we live in such a fun time in the world that technology can bring us all together. We can have lunch. We can talk to each other. I've got my phone right here. You can ask Lauren Daigle your questions. You can send them on Twitter to Jennie Allen or to If Gathering and use the hashtag If Gathering. And so I will be asking your questions today. And so we'll be talking about just her life, her songs. We're going to get to hear some of her music. And today she announced that they are releasing a deluxe edition of her most recent album, and we're so excited to talk to her about it. So first of all, I want to welcome Lauren Daigle from Nashville, Tennessee. We're so glad you're here. Lauren, can you hear us? Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yes, I can.
Yay, we gotcha. Hi, welcome back. Okay,
Hey.
you are in Nashville. We're coming from Austin, Texas. So tell
Oh,
me,
you're coming. Okay, got it.
we're working it all out. I love technology and I hate it at the same time. It's so amazing. Okay, so Lauren, tell us just a little bit about your background. When did you first sing? When did you know you had this gift? Tell us about the beginning.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I started singing in a church play when I was 3 years old, and I was a camel, and I hadn't ever really. I mean, I was 3 years old, just getting started, and from 3 to about 16, I never really sang or did anything. I would just go around the house singing all the time. My brother would say, "Mom, please make her stop singing. She sings all the time." And my mom knew, like, oh, there's something birthing in her heart. So when I was about 16, that's when I started saying, okay, I kind of want to pursue this. What is this about? And my parents put me in vocal lessons, and I sang for the local Christmas play. And I started leading worship at our church. I joined the church choir and then started leading. So I actually had no idea if I could sing. It was kind of like, let's take a risk. And so when I started, working with the worship pastor there, he was like, I want you to sing this song. Try, see if you can do it. And I was like, Hosanna, like really shaky and scared and nervous. And he was like, okay, now I know that you can scream, so really sing this song like as if you're singing it. And so I went for it, and he was like, okay, you should lead this next week. And I was like, what? I've never done this in my life. I was terrified, but he really started calling it out of me. And from that point on, I just kept leading worship and went into American Idol when I was 17. Still had no idea if I could sing really or not, and made it past the first round. And I was in complete disbelief. I was kind of like, how did that happen? I don't really know, because none of my friends knew I could sing. It was kind of like the secret. So I didn't really know if I could either. And when all of this approval started coming, I started thinking, okay, maybe there's a future here.
Uh, and then I know from reading your bio that at that point you did not make it very far in American Idol. So what was that experience like? Did that discourage you?
Yeah. Well, so I ended up going past the judges to Hollywood
Oh,
and went to the end of Hollywood week where you find out like if you make it to the top 24. So I think it was like the top 48 or 42 or something at that point. But I was one away from the live shows, and so to make it that extent and then get told no right before America gets to start judging,
yeah.
I was like, oh gosh, this is a hard pill to swallow. And I didn't go to college for a year. I took off that year to kind of pursue American Idol, pursue singing and things like that. So I saw quickly everything shifting. Like, oh no, I'm gonna have to go to college. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to conform to what my parents have said all along. No, I'm kidding. But they've been incredible support. But during that time, I really had to decide, like, okay, am I going to listen to the words of man, or am I going to trust like what the Lord has told me in this time? And he had started kind of giving me dreams and visions. Like when I was 15 to 17, he would give me dreams and visions about tour buses and just different stages and different charts and things like that. So I kind of held dear to those dreams. So when it was a no with American Idol, I had to say, all right, am I going to lean on the word and affirmation of man, or am I going to hold fast to the promises that the Lord had shown me? And so I was really sad for a day, and then I kind of snapped out of it and started pursuing music again. So there was maybe one day where I was like, oh, that stung, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to let go yet.
And then I know that you are an LSU girl.
Yeah.
That was part of your story, and I'm a Razorback girl.
Oh, no.
So much
Well, at least we're close.
so that I need to show you what my friend gave me and that was on my desk before. This is
Oh, my gosh.
Razorback cheerleader. I just wanted to make your blood boil a little because I heard
That's okay.
you were such a fan that you like decked out your tour bus and LSU stuff.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Our relationship's off to a rough start.
My whole family went to LSU. My grandparents worked there for like 40 years, and my mom and dad both went there. They were all married on campus, my mom and dad and my grandparents. And so we have a long legacy at LSU.
That is deep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you got your tenure at LSU, your time there, because
Yes.
you needed to do that. You needed
I
to.
did. That was like fuel for the soul. I would have wondered my whole life what it was like.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the other story that's fun is that my mother adores you, and I guess the first time your song came out, she was like, "Jennie, you got to get Lauren Daigle at If Gathering because she's the greatest thing." And at that point, I hadn't heard you, and then I heard you, and I will say that my mom's awfully happy she's watching right now. So.
Oh, hi, Mom. That's awesome. That is super special.
And so everything kind of took off. So you go to college, you keep pursuing, and you are working on an album. How does it go from LSU to recording an album and having that opportunity?
Yeah, that was kind of like the shock season. So I ended up coming home from American Idol. I went to LSU and I joined a local band there, and we would just play random venues. And they introduced me to their friends, and they were recording an EP, and they said, "Hey, we need some girl to sing background vocals. Do you know anyone?" So they're like, "Oh yeah, you should meet our friend Lauren." So I sang background vocals on their record, and it started getting traction on iTunes and things like that. So it made #1 in a local, well, here, local in Nashville, record label saw it and contacted that band, the boys, and said, "Hey, we want to, invite you to an indie artist retreat that we're having outside of Seattle. It's in the mountains. It's at this retreat center, and we're really interested in y'all coming. By the way, there's one female spot left, and I know that the girl's not in your band, but you should just have her come up, that background singer." And so they contacted me. They said, "Hey, Lauren, I don't know if you're interested in this." And I was like, "A free trip to the mountains? Yeah, that sounds great." And so I kind of went up there really not knowing at all what I was getting into. I just thought it was a music workshop or something like that. And we ended up having to perform in front of the label and do this showcase. And at the showcase, the lead singer of the band that I went up there with had to get an emergency appendectomy. And so they said, "Lauren, can you fill in lead for us really quick?" So I jumped in and sang lead vocals, and I could feel the presence of God in that moment like I have never felt before. It was absolutely incredible. And I felt like that was just the Lord saying, like, now you can take the risk. The season is ready. That season of being at LSU for 2 years was just getting the soil prepared, and now the harvest is ready for you to go. And so they said, "Hey, you should come to Nashville and write." So I went up to Nashville. I wrote for a week, and at the end of the week, I was like, "Well, I'm moving here." And they're like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just going to move to Nashville. We'll see whatever happens. So I moved up, and after about a year and a half of writing, we started recording. And now that's the record that you have.
So I'm going to take some of the questions that you all are sending online. And if you want to send us your questions, we'll be asking them throughout the broadcast. And I know everybody really just wants to hear you sing, Lauren. But let me get to some of these questions. One of them, I loved this. How do you fight pride as a worship leader and as you continue to get more success? I mean, Grammys, congratulations, and
Oh,
a few weeks ago.
thank you.
So what does that look like to just walk through this in a humble way and trust God with it?
Yeah, you know, it takes a lot to kind of keep that down, but I would say there's two main things. One, it's surrounding yourself with a team that really understands the kingdom of God, and kind of keeps you accountable to that, remaining humble and really listening to his voice in every season and every situation, like constantly going back, leaning on him for answers instead of just thinking, oh yeah, we got this figured out, like we know what we're doing. It's this way or this way or this way. We'll just do it. Instead, like really, even in the small things, just pursuing, okay, God, what do you want to see done here? So having a team that's really mindful of the kingdom of God and that advancing on earth, I would say that's one way to remain out of the pride element. The second would be um, really to stay in tune to your purpose. And when I started leading worship, I realized, oh gosh, I'm so nervous. I'd get up there and I'd be nervous all the time, and I would think, why am I nervous? If I'm nervous, that means I'm kind of wanting some sort of gain in this. And nerves come up different ways for different people, but I knew for me it was because I was wanting to please people. And the Lord really started telling me, like, Lauren, when you lead worship, you're giving my people an introduction into my presence. So whatever it is that you're, cultivating in your quiet time, just bring that to the stage. Just let them get an encounter like how you encounter me in your quiet time. And it really made me realize, oh, all right, Lord, like I'm going to just stay focused on you every time I'm up there on stage and make them come into your presence and them come into an encounter, because that's the thing that's going to transform everything. And in those moments, that's when your pride just kind of goes down because you remain focused on the purpose.
So
Those would
good.
be the two things.
Yeah, so good. Another question is, musically, who do you listen to and who inspires you?
Oh, wow. There's so many. Um, I mean, I love Coldplay right now. They just released their new record, and it's beautiful. All of their records are really inspiring. Them on a creative level and on an artistic level, how they bring visual arts into their sounds and everything. That is something I glean from, and just I love studying Coldplay. Um, I would say vocally, I love Adele. There's a new one. Her name's Andra Day. I love her voice. And then back to the roots of when I was like a little girl, Celine Dion and Whitney Houston. I would say those were the most profound. Those were the ones that really. Celine Dion, I would put her cassette in the player every day, or I would just sit next to the radio and wait for her songs to come on. I adored her powerhouse vocal. So I would say she was very foundational as well. And then from a worship leading perspective, um, Jen Johnson was really huge. She was impacting, as well as Kim Walker Smith. Those two girls, and Amanda Cook and Taya Smith, are now added on to to that docket. But
Those are very good ones.
there's a lot.
Okay, so I mean, music. Let's get to it. So I wanted you to start with, the song is incredible, Trust in You, a little bit, because you do write your own lyrics and your own music. So talk a little bit about creating that and what that song means to you.
Absolutely. So I wrote this song. My grandfather had just passed away, and it was kind of the season of questioning. Like, all right, Lord, we fully believed he had cancer, and we fully believed that the Lord was capable of healing him on earth. And so I just devoted my heart, like, Lord, I'm going to call out your promises over my grandfather and believe that, his healing will come to pass. And he ended up passing away. I come back to Nashville, and I'm kind of in this zone of processing, and I was just like, Lord, I have a choice here to make with you, that I could either get frustrated at the circumstance, or I can believe that you have much higher things, and also know that your word is still true, your promises are still true. His healing might not have been on earth, but he's completely healed in heaven, and he's dancing and he's enjoying life up there. And so I just had to say, all right, Lord, what is it going to be with me? And I kind of worked it out with the Lord, like, all right, there's these mountains that we want to move in life. There's these situations that we really wish could change, and a lot of times our earthly perspective looks like a lot different than what his kingdom perspective is. And it's in that moment we have to decide, are we going to trust that his ways are higher? Are we going to trust that he is working all things for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose? Are we going to lean on our own understanding, or are we going to lean on his understanding and trust that he's working everything out for us, and that his kingdom purposes will remain intact, even if our earthly perspective is a little bit different? And so that's really the heart behind this song, is when situations look like completely different than what we had desired or what we've invested into, are we going to really lean on his ways instead of our own?
Well, we're excited to hear it. So,
all right.
Live from Music City, Nashville, Lauren Daigle.
Yay! I'm going to take a sip of water really quick. All right. Trust in you. Letting go of every single dream, I lay each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering, it never changes what you see. I've tried to win this war, I confess. My hands are weary, I need your rest. Oh, mighty warrior, king of the fight. No matter what I face, you're by my side. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. Ooh, yeah. Truth is, you know what tomorrow brings. There's not a day ahead you have not seen, no. So in all things, be my life and breath. I want what you want, Lord, and nothing less. When you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you, I will trust, I will trust, I will trust in you. Ooh, I'll trust in you. Oh, ooh, yeah, yeah. You are my strength and comfort. You are my steady hand. You are my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. Your ways are always higher. Your plans are always good. There's not a place where I'll go you've not already stood. Oh yeah. When you don't move the mountain, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you. I will trust, I will trust in you. And you don't move the mountains, I'm needing you to move. When you don't part the waters, I wish I could walk through. When you don't give the answers as I cry out to you. Oh, I will trust, I will trust in you. Ooh, I'll trust in you, yes. Ooh,
It's so fun to be reading the tweets as you're singing, Lauren. So many people have been blessed by that song, and I just think it was written from such a place of pain, and yet it is touching other people's lives and their pain and their suffering. So anyway, it's incredible. It's so
that
beautiful.
means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Tell everybody about your big announcement today. What's happening today? I want everybody to know.
Yes. Okay, so this is pretty fun. We've kind of, as time grows, as time progresses, as you live with songs, your heart starts to grow with them as well. And sometimes they change meanings, and sometimes you just get a new artistic spin on them. And because of that, today we're announcing that we're going to have a How Can It Be Deluxe Edition coming out, and the pre-sale is ready on laurendaigle.com. So I'm pretty pumped about it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be some old songs that you've heard and you might have grown with a new spin on them, as well as 2 new songs that we're going to introduce. So I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. And then you're also headed out on tour with some people that we love. So tell everybody a little bit as well.
Oh, okay. That I am super excited about. I'm going to be touring with Hillsong United at the end of April and May as well. And it's kind of crazy because when I go back and look, at my time of singing, when I was in that 16-year-old phase, my youth pastor came to me and said, I want you to start leading worship for our youth group. And the songs that we would pick from were Hillsong United only. So it was like, that was pretty much all we listened to. That was all that we would sing. So it's kind of crazy to see it come full circle.
I bet. I mean, what a great man that worship pastor is. I mean, how fun for him to get to you obey God and step into all this.
Oh, he's so supportive. Everyone back home. I love Louisiana. I'm like a Louisiana girl through and through. It's pretty bad, but that's kind of one of the beautiful things is you start off young with people in Louisiana, and then they just stay with you for the rest of life. So it's really sweet to see their support.
I love this question. So Emily Fields is asking, recording your first record was obviously a huge step of faith. What is the next big step of faith in this journey for you?
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. That's a power-packed question. There's so many. Well, I'm in the process of moving right now, so that's definitely one thing that I have to just lean on the Lord for completely. He's teaching me how to trust Him in the big things and the small things. So I would say something as normal as moving and getting a house, that's one thing I'm trusting Him for right now, as well as just the sounds of the next record. Really, there's places that I want to go artistically, but I want to make sure that it's still, warm and inviting for everyone to kind of dive into. And God's so faithful. It's really more about His presence, but I would say that the place that I'm having to find faith in is learning about different sounds. Now that there is this platform, it's kind of a new level of pressure, and it's, all right, am I going to give into that pressure, or am I going to just keep listening to the voice of the Lord telling me, this is what I desire, this is what I have planned, and that's for anything in life. That's for any phase, any career, any marriage, anything. It's like, all right, Lord, am I going to trust any pressure that I might bring on myself, or am I just going to listen to your voice through this season? So I would say with moving and with the next record, those are the two main places of faith right now.
Yeah, I kept thinking that it would get easier, like that God would have these few cliffs that I needed to jump off because they were scary enough, and I couldn't imagine that the cliffs could get scarier. But
Yeah.
he seems to not let us just coast ever. So
No,
being
because
new
yeah,
things.
he doesn't want us to get comfortable with our human nature. He wants us to constantly have to depend on him and rely on him because it just brings us a little bit closer to heaven, when we have to be with him. So it's such an honor that he does that, that he cares enough for our relationship with him to remain intact through kind of pushing us to the place of uncomfortable sometimes. It's fun.
Yes, I'm very comfortable with uncomfortable. I've learned
Yeah.
to live in
Yeah.
it. Okay, so we've got two songs here that and you choose which one you want to sing. But first, or how can it be? Those are two of my favorites. So,
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. Um, let's go with um, let's go with first, I think.
and so tell us a little bit about it before you go.
Well, it's perfect because it ties into that previous question. So, we were transforming the EP into an LP, which that means a full-length record. And we had such a short amount of time to write and record four more songs, and I was on tour trying to figure out, okay, how do I make this happen in the midst of all of that? And it was a hectic little moment, but it was kind of one of those 11th hour sort of things where you're like down to the wire. And I looked at my friends and I was just like, I am so anxious. I don't have the songs that I need, and I know that there's a lot more at stake and a lot more coming, and I don't want to let anyone down. And how do I do this? And I woke up and I just told the Lord, like, I don't know how to function today. I'm anxious. I'm just going to admit it. And I know your word says not to be anxious. So what am I supposed to do? I'm going to go back to sleep. And so I took a nap and I woke up, and someone had posted on Instagram, they sent me like a direct message that just had Matthew 6:33. And I remember just looking at it and being like, okay, well, I'm going to look up Matthew 6:33. And then the verse was, you know, don't be anxious because your heavenly Father provides all that they need. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. So I was like, all right, what is this about? So I looked up Matthew 6 and just started diving in. And the whole thing is about, look at the lilies of the valley, look at the birds of the air. They neither toil nor labor nor spin. And here I am trying to work in my human capacity to make heavenly things happen that it's not possible. So they neither toil nor labor nor spin, yet your heavenly Father provides all that they need. Who by worrying could add a single hour to his life, but instead seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. And I realized by taking on this anxiety, I was really taking on control and trying to do things in my own strength. And the Lord just had to bring me to this place of, do you want to keep looking through an earthly perspective, or do you want to see my kingdom come? Do you want to live in in the heavenly perspective? Like, which do you want to choose? And in that moment, because he brought that verse, like they neither toil nor labor nor spin, yet they're provided for, I knew God was about to do a huge miracle. And the next day I woke up, I went to my writing appointment, and I get there and my friend says, well, what's God been talking to you about? And I was like, oh, he's telling me, seek first the kingdom of God in the midst of these pressures. And she was like, oh, that's amazing, because while you were on the way over here, we came up with a song title, and it's called First. And it happened to be the first song that we all wrote together that year. It was in January. So it was kind of cool how God put all the pieces together, and he just let that song kind of take on a life of its own. And it's all about just seeking first his kingdom, not giving in to anxiety.
Awesome. Can't wait. Let's do it.
Okay. Sip again. Before I bring my need, I will bring my heart. Before I lift my cares, I will lift my arms. Oh, I wanna know you, I wanna find you in every season, in every moment. Before I bring my need, I will bring my heart and seek you first. I wanna seek you, I wanna seek you first. I wanna keep you, I wanna keep you first. Ooh. More than anything I want you first. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Before I speak a word, let me hear your voice. Hey. And in the midst of pain, let me feel your joy. Oh, I wanna know you, I wanna find you in every season, in every moment. Before I speak a word, I will bring my heart and seek you first. I wanna seek you, I wanna seek you first. I wanna keep you, I wanna keep you first. Ooh, yeah. More than anything I want you first. Ooh, hey, hey, hey. We seek you, Jesus. Oh, let nothing stand in our way, Jesus. Oh, 'cause you are my treasure and my reward. Oh, let nothing ever come before. Oh, yeah, yeah. You are my treasure and my reward. Oh, let nothing ever come before. I seek you first. Oh, yeah, first. I wanna seek you, I wanna seek you first. I wanna keep you, I wanna keep you first. Ooh, yeah. More than anything I want you first. Ooh, oh yeah, 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 yeah. First. Ooh.
That was incredible. I loved it. Thank you,
Thank
Lauren.
you.
So beautiful. Okay, so let's just a couple more questions. One of the questions was talk just a little bit more about songwriting and what does that process look like for you as you sit down? I know you wrote Noel. What was the song you wrote with Chris Tomlin?
Oh, I didn't write it with him, but I recorded it. He wrote Noel with Ed Cash,
Yeah.
and I just jumped in on the vocal.
Well, that was not disappointing, I'm sure.
No, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was such a special moment. Ocean Way Studios is where we recorded it, and that's kind of an iconic studio in Nashville. I had never been before, so I walked in and they were like, "Do you know about this place?" And I was like, "I don't know, but I'm finding out because it's beautiful." And so it was just a really special night. It was a live recording, so we had an intimate setting with a bunch of people um, locally around Nashville, and it was really, really sweet. And I just could feel there was the presence of God in that room was so special. So it was beautiful. My prayer was that during that um, recording, I was like, Lord, can you just come and breathe on this song for all of those who need comfort in the Christmas season? And little did I know that he would do that for my very grandmother who lost my grandfather. And every morning he would wake her up with that song, Noel, during that kind of season of loss. It was
Oh,
beautiful.
ah,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Okay, so tell us just a little bit more about what it's like when you sit down as a creator and you are creating words for songs that you now know will go out and bless so many people.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because you walk in there and you're like, all right, Lord, these are the things you've been talking to me about, and I just want to express that back to you. Like, what way can I worship and adore you? What sound is that for this moment and for today? And so there's an element of kind of just bringing what you have to the Lord and saying, I hope this is a joyful sound to your ears, and sitting in the delight of His presence, you know? That's a major part, as well as collaboration. I would say is the other part where you kind of you sit with other people and you're like, you know, I have this idea, but what do you think? What's going on in your heart? What's going on in your head? And do you think my idea is crazy? There's a lot of that that goes on, and musically, there's such this universal language in music that we all can communicate with one another. And so it's sitting down and saying, all right, this is a message I want to get across. What's the best way to translate that for the rest of the world to hear and feel the weight of the lyric and the weight of the melodies and the weight of God's presence in the midst of those songs? So there's a lot of questions that happen, but um, it's interesting because there's a mystery behind every song. You kind of go into a co-write or go into a writing session on your own where you dedicate time by yourself, and you never know what's going to happen. So it's this constant search of the mystery, you know.
Well, and again, it's that dependence. He just likes us in
Yeah.
that position. It is hard
Yeah.
to do because you don't know if you can do it and if he will bring it. And it's scary, I'm sure, every time.
Yeah, there's always the search, like, all right, God, I know that you delight in this, and I know that you delight in your people hearing music and hearing truth. Um, so what way do you want to reveal that to us in this moment? That happens all the time where I walk in timid. I don't know why I walk in timid or walk in, even if it's just me writing by myself, like, okay, Lord, are you going to come through? Yes, he delights in coming through for us. Like that's his treasure, that's his joy is saying like, "Oh, I want to prove to you that I'm faithful. Here's a song." So I don't ever know why I walk in timid or have any doubts because God shows up every time. He really does. And it's just letting him do his thing in the midst of writing and being creative as well.
Well, and I just think there are so many girls out there that younger girls that have a gift, that have something that is growing in them. And especially with worship, I'm sure to some degree, I mean, this is fresh. Like, I mean, Christy Nockels, there are some people that have paved the way with women in
Yeah.
leading. What would you say to those young girls that are watching this and want to use their gifts, but maybe are a little bit lost as to how to go about this and what does it look like to obey God?
Yeah, totally. I love this question. It's one of the most important ones to me ever asked because it was when the person who I looked up to was asked this question. It was the thing that changed everything in me. And it was the answer is very simple, but it's get alone with God. And I say that not in the cliche way, but in the strategic way. Like get alone with God and start finding out his nature, start finding out his heart and what he wants to communicate through you. Because every person on this earth has a unique message to deliver. And unless you're alone with God, you can't cultivate that. You can't find what that is. So I would say get alone with God and trust that He will open all the doors that need to be opened. It's not about, you know, this earthly mentality would say you have to make sure you're present and available to knock on every door to make it happen for yourself. But that's not at all how God works. God says, I want you to be present and available for my power to work through you. And I'm going to open all the doors. And the verse that comes to mind every time was the verse that I found when I was about 16. It's Proverbs 16:9, and it says, "Man may choose his path, but the Lord directs his steps." So basically, it's saying, God, I have this dream. God, I have this vision. I really want this to happen, but I don't know, A, if this is your will, or B, if it's possible. And he comes alongside and he says, oh, I'll show you that A, it is possible because I'm going to form every step. And you look and you see doors open and things happen and you're like, how did that just happen? This is crazy. But that's what it's like to be on an adventure with God. And then when you get at the end, you look back and you realize, oh, this is the path that I had been desiring the whole time. And God aligned all the steps. He took care of every leap of faith that I had to walk through. And that's what I would say. Get along with God. Find out the strategy that He has for you, the uniqueness that He has implanted in you.
Well, and one thing I've learned too is I feel like there's just as much joy doing it in your church as it is in front of everybody on a stage. Like I think sometimes we glamorize ministry that it has to reach a certain number of people for it to be fulfilling and rewarding. And I think, I'm sure, as a little girl singing at your church, that was so fulfilling and rewarding to you.
Absolutely. That's really funny that you talk about this because my season at American Idol, so I went when I was 17, went when I was 18, didn't even make it to Hollywood, then went again when I was 19, made it back to Hollywood, and I was on that stage and said, at this point I had been leading worship for about 3 years, and I was on the stage in Hollywood, and I remember breathing into the microphone and saying, God, if your presence isn't here, then this is not fulfilling at all. And I said, you would think with all of these millions of viewers, with that caliber of a platform, that it would fill up every piece of me. That's what I had been longing for. That's what I'd been dreaming of, But all I wanted was, I remember saying, all I want to do is just be back at church with my 1,500 people in the crowd. I don't care about the millions. It's just so much greater to have your presence there. And he started teaching me about the heart of worship. And that worship can be just you in your room, can be just as fulfilling as singing to millions of people. And worship is in every step. It's in every action. It doesn't even have to be singing. It could be, cleaning the dishes for your parents. It could be, tidying up the church after a long service. It could be, giving someone love, hugging someone, or helping, your kids. It doesn't matter what it looks like in the sense of job or career or title. Worship is a heart posture. And so he basically told me in that season, like, I'm going to show you about the depth of worship so that when there is time for millions of people, your heart is already linked with me. And it doesn't become about numbers. It really becomes about my presence.
Well, you lead a lot of people to that presence, and I'm very grateful, Lauren, for your ministry. And so tell everybody a little bit about where to find the album and kind of what's next. So, I mean, you're going to be touring with Hillsong. Can people buy tickets?
Yes.
Is that available already? So
Yeah,
tell everybody.
the ticket sales came out or they just released the dates for all of the Hillsong tour. So that's coming up. The pre-sale started today for the deluxe edition of How Can It Be? So that's up. And you can find all of that at laurendaigle.com. And you can also check out iTunes for the purchase.
Awesome. And someday we are going to get you at an IF gathering. I hope that can come sometime. You
Y'all are
would just,
so kind. Y'all have been
well,
so kind. Seriously, thank you for y'all's support and just for making this work via technology. That's kind of exciting. First time doing anything like this. So, seriously, thank you guys so much for your support and everybody watching as well.
yeah, yeah. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us, and so fun to just have lunch together for a little hour. So anyway, laurendaigle.com, and we will be putting this up where you can replay it and send it to your friends. And I'm just thinking of all the little girls that are at school right now that need to watch
Yeah.
this, that have this passion and gift to worship God, and so, send that to the little girls in your life that you know as well. So Lauren, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Thank you.